Welcome to the skate park that traumatized me as a child. This is the skate park that is closest to my house when I was growing up. And I've said it 100 times on this channel probably, but I did try to learn how to skateboard as a child and I failed, very miserably failed. But I distinctly remember having only gone to one skate park, and this was the skate park. And I know memories can play tricks on you, but I think this is the park where I kind of gave up on my dream to learn how to skateboard, which is why I want to talk about it and why I'm so excited to skate it. It's making me feel actually just a little bit emotional. But first things first, the park is way nicer than it used to be. It's much wider, it's larger. It used to be in a skating rink over there. They would only bring it out during the summer. Last year I did come here, but they had actually closed the park down because they wanted to repave all of this. So it is repaved. Rolling on it now, I can tell that it's definitely slanted. They have the original ramps, so they're pretty rusty, but they're definitely a lot smaller than I remember them. And I think that's kind of the funny thing about getting better at skateboarding, is that anytime I go back to a park that I skated 3 years ago when I first started it, I feel it very differently. And I think like, wow, this is not nearly as big as I remember it being. So the ramps here, they actually all seem kind of good, like kind of good height-wise, size-wise. The rail's a little bit tall and a little bit bent in the middle for some reason. But I'm really, really excited that it has like normal sized quarter pipes. It's got this really tiny one over there with no coping. And today I have no plan, no list of tricks, which I normally have. I just want to play around at this park and like kind of overcome this childhood trauma. But of course, I should warm up on flat ground first because I should. Today's a nollie and switch day for me, which means I'm going to try to do my warm-up completely in nollie and switch, minus the no comply. One thing I'm trying to do better is actually land my tricks a lot more solidly and not stop just when I get a land. And this is what happened. When I was a kid, I remember distinctly coming to this skate park and being too afraid to skate any of the obstacles. And that was twofold. I actually very distinctly remember sitting on a skateboard and rolling down the bank. I remember doing that, and I remember rolling near the flat bar, and maybe I tried to do like a terrible ollie or something. I remember failing to do that, but there was other kids here, and what I remember was being too afraid to skate in front of them. So that's pretty much all I did the whole time I was here. And I wasn't even here, I don't think, for 15, 20 minutes. And I walked up to my mom and said I wanted to go home. I remember being so afraid to skate here and having zero confidence in myself, feeling like I couldn't do anything, which was true. I couldn't do anything, but that really traumatized me. And I feel like that was the turning point for me between like, oh, I really want to do this thing and I don't think I can do this thing. And I remember I never came here again until last year when I came to find it was closed. And today, 3.5 years, going on 4 years of skateboarding as an adult, and I'm really glad I came here. I'm so excited to skate this. So I guess I shouldn't wait any longer, yeah? And returning to this park, I realized right away that what this might really help me with is learning how to skate faster, because I was having a really hard time gaining and maintaining any form of speed right from the very beginning. But I still wanted to start exploring what I might be able to do at this park, beginning with a small drop-in,
that I did need to warm up on the bank first because it had been a very long time since my last one. But after that initial fear subsided, it was kind of an opening of the floodgates for me. I was excited and ready to try anything, including a 50-50 axle stall, which I had never tried before. And I can't lie, it shocked me how easily that stall came.
Yes.
But it also further confirmed my own theory and ideas that learning new tricks often comes from a happy combination of skill versus the right obstacle. I didn't just magically land a 50-50 axle stall today, it was definitely this obstacle that made it possible. I also gave these tail stalls a try, but just struggled to get enough speed to get up on top of this non-existent coping again.
Hips are something that when I first started skateboarding, I wasn't really that interested in. And then over the last year, I've been like really motivated to learn them, but there was just no hip near me that was really accessible. The one at the other park I used to skate ran right into some transition and it was very tall and steep. This looks way more doable, so I'm super excited.
Like always, I started by just re-familiarizing myself with the feel of the pyramid, but the moment I started trying frontside and backside 180s, which I eventually want to get, I ran into my standard problems: losing speed, losing pop, and losing control. But it was expected. I definitely have a skills gap here, but I also have a confidence gap since I'm just not used to skating these kinds of obstacles. But I have hope for next time because it was promising. I just need to keep practicing.
Unfortunately, this park doesn't have a flat ledge, but it does have this hubba, and I've actually also always wanted to learn how to skate hubbas, and don't think I'm gonna slide down it today, but I'm hoping that maybe I can just get a nose stall and see how that goes.
PSA, I'm going to skip over most of the footage here because the fails and nose stalls that I were getting pretty much all looked the same.
Yeah. The idea of prefab parks have definitely grown on me. I think I like them a lot right now just because they can be, not always. The prefab park in Virginia was actually massive, but they're often kind of small and they have some really accessible obstacles that I think I could have benefited from when I was a beginner skater. So I really dig the prefab parks right now. But what I will say is this park is super hard to skate because of the slant. Like I'm finding I'm having a lot of difficulty getting any kind of speed. And I know that a lot of that's partly due to my skill, but I mean, the park is slanted and I'm surprised at just how much I'm struggling to do that, but we'll see.
And to finish up the session, I wanted to ollie and pop shove it up and out of the bank onto this flat part. Once again, running into the same issues I had all day, which were struggling to pop on an obstacle and losing too much speed, despite the fact that I was rolling in on a pretty sizable bank. So I know what I need to work on going forward: pop, pushing, pumping, and probably running starts. Though I did get my best ollie onto the flat part so far, and my best pop shove it a little bit later. I think because I love flat ground flip tricks so much, I'm drawn to the obstacles that I can take them to right now, like banks and hips. I don't know if I'll ever kickflip into a ledge, but I definitely want to kickflip a hip. So I'll probably be spending a lot more time on these obstacles in the future.
Honestly, that went better than I ever could have dreamed it going. I don't skate a lot of parks, and to be able to come back here as an adult, skating for about 3.5 years, and to be able to skate almost all the obstacles. I can't skate the higher transition yet or the bars, but the rest, like, I may do it. I tried the pyramid, I tried no sliding down and no stalling on the hubba. I did a little drop off the hubba. I got a tail stall in a 50-50. I've never done that before. Honestly, just a bunch of tricks I've never done, or I've never done that well. And I don't know if I was extra motivated to commit to everything just because of the kind of emotional trauma this park gave me when I was a kid. I remember the worst part about that whole situation was just how bad I felt about myself. I felt really bad that I went all the way to the park. I got my mom to drive me on her day off, and I just felt guilty. I felt guilty about wasting the trip, about not being able to do anything. I was a really, really shy, timid kid. I had a lot of anxiety when I was a kid too. I just didn't realize it. I didn't understand it. No one really recognized it around me either, and I remember feeling so bad about myself after that happened. It was very traumatic, and I never wanted to come back here again. And I did it. I never came back here again until today. And in my opinion, I shredded it. So I'm shaking a little bit. It's cold. I'm just really proud of myself. I always wanted to come back here and kind of face that small emotional trauma from my childhood and remind myself of how far I've come and how much confidence I've gotten. And I don't succeed every time. Once in a while I drive to a park, and if it's too crowded or if there's even one person there and the anxiety is just a little too high, then I'll drive back home. It's always really disappointing, and I can't lie, I definitely feel bad about myself when that happens, but it's all part of pushing forward, moving forward, growing, and getting better in general, because you gotta fail sometimes. And nothing has taught me that as much as skateboarding. Failure can be just part of the path to success, and I'm here to embrace that. It's a little bit chilly to sit and chat too long, but I hope you're doing well. Let's overcome more fears. That would be a good goal for the year, I think.